Oilers fall 3-2 to the Buffalo Sabres to kick off a 4-game road trip. No bueno, as Hernan Salas would say. Whew. Welcome to the GCL Diesel Oil Stream post-game show. Tom Gazzola, Hernan Salas with you. Matt Cassian, our game analyst, will be stopping by shortly. If you are listening on iHeartRadio and TuneIn, and of course, EdmontonSportsTalk.com's audio player, you can text us, 780-218-9999. You can text us if you're watching on YouTube as well, but of course, you can get into the nasty chat. Talk amongst yourselves. We'll dip into the nasty chat a little bit to break down Edmonton's 3-2 loss in Buffalo. It just doesn't sound good. Lots to get to in regard to this game. Of course, the post-game show brought to you by GCL Diesel, providers of the best diesel engine components around, from turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors. They are the critical engine component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years. Hernan, you and I are watching this game in the bullpen.
Yeah.
We're like, good for Buffalo hanging in there, sticks in lanes, blocking shots. Edmonton had a lot of really good opportunities. They hit 5 bars tonight. Couple of mistakes. And it's in the back of the net.
Yeah.
Some bad turnovers, some soft plays, and it's in the back of the net.
I said no excuses, so I'm not going to give any.
I don't want to give any excuses. You should win that game.
Yeah, and now, like, I think, Tom, what you're trying to get at is that the Oilers, for the most part, were the better team.
They had a lot of possession, a lot of zone time.
Hit the post 3-4 times?
5 times they counted.
But again, it's mistakes that cost this team. It is. The first goal can't go in. That's a terrible play by Stuart Skinner, plain and simple.
Awful
There's no
goal.
defending it.
Awful.
Period. The third goal, Podkolzin loses the puck at the blue line. Sure, Bouchard's in a tough spot. I don't know. How about having 2 hands on your stick?
He was soft on his stick. Yes,
How
Norris.
about being more aggressive?
Louis pointed it out, and it's true. Norris was hitting his stick. Tage Thompson was on the other side, getting in his hands, whatever. But he was like this. Ugh.
Yeah. And sure, there's a bit of a slash. Good. That's what you should do if you're going in on a guy.
You're checking the defenseman to get a turnover, and that's exactly what happened.
I still think it's a soft play. Sorry, he was put in a bad spot. That's on Podkolzin. Podkolzin can't turn that puck over. So that's a soft play. Boom, boom, boom. Tate Thompson's all alone on Stuart Skinner. I mean, he's an elite goal scorer.
Yes,
it is what it is. But again, I like the first period by the Oil. They couldn't get more goals. Unfortunate. Second period, I thought they were sloppy. A lot of turnovers. And listen, we had Joe DiBiase. We had Paul Hamilton on. They said Buffalo's playing all out because they have nothing to lose. They're not going to the playoffs.
Right.
They're going to make it at least fun.
They score.
And that's what they do.
Yeah, they score goals.
And that's what they do.
Yep.
And the Oilers said, sure, we'll play with you guys. And Tommy, 9 times out of 10, the Oilers should win that game. But they didn't, and there's no excuses. Sorry, you can't lose that game. You can blame the post. You can blame this. You can, he got slashed lightly on the hand, so he couldn't control the puck. No, come on, man. You lost to the worst team in the East, one of the worst teams in the league.
Yep.
Now, they didn't play bad. This wasn't their worst game, not even close. But Tom, man, for me, this is unacceptable.
It is unacceptable. You got to win that game. Couple things. They get a late power play. Had a couple of looks, a lot of perimeter stuff. I'll give the Sabres credit for sticks in lanes and blocking shots. They sold out and blocked a lot of shots, sacrificed their body. Kudos to them. We're the Edmonton Oilers. Like, you're supposed to be a contender. It's the worst team in the Eastern Conference. You find a way. Supposed to find a way. They didn't. Then there's a couple icings with about 1:10 on the clock. And Knobloch doesn't call a timeout.
Perfect.
I want to point one other thing out. You've got 2.5 minutes left in the game, and you're chasing it down by 1. Why are you putting out a guy that has 2 goals this season, and neither one of them he shot into the net?
Thank you. I was just going to bring that.
How many times did I joke to you, watch Janmark go out there in the last couple minutes? And sure enough, they put him out there. And I said to you, why is he out there?
You did.
I was joking.
You're like, Janmark coming over the boards? There was about 2:40 left in the third period. And him and Connor Brown come over the boards. Why? One guy has 1 goal in 32 games. The other guy has 2 goals. He's still, like, what did you say? He still hasn't shot the puck into that. And that is who you go with in the final man.
Thanks.
I got a couple of Nazis saying they saw at the end of the game, McDavid was saying something to Knobloch. They want confirmation. We weren't there, guys. We'll try to look at video. But a lot of people assuming it's, why didn't you call a timeout? And I think that's a great question.
There was that one shot as they're come back after the second icing where it looked like McDavid was looking at the bench, maybe saying something. And then they had Knobloch and he was kind of like, he had a fist over his mouth. And it looked like he was thinking about something. I don't know. Just call it.
Like,
give your guys a break.
Tom, is there any reason not to call a timeout there? Is it because you don't want Buffalo to rest their best players? Like, I don't get it.
The Buffalo guys aren't tired.
No, but I'm saying, is that the reason why he's like, I don't want Buffalo Dahling to rest. I don't want.
I would be more concerned about my guys being rested. And maybe go over strategy. That's just me. It looked like he was thinking. I don't know.
You can't keep him, so use it. I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued. If anyone has video of that,
send it.
It's the same thing as when Draisaitl looked back in that one game and kicked the bench door and who was he yelling at? And we'll never know. But yeah, I'm intrigued by it. But yeah, I mean, if McDavid's going to know, hey, why didn't you call a timeout? I think that's a perfectly fair question. And if he says, well, I didn't want the other guys to rest,
who cares?
Worry about your team.
Yeah. How about your guys getting a breather? All right. Text us 780-218-9999. Get to the nasty chat. Lots of nasty talking. I actually saw the auto-generated AI synopsis of the nasty chat right off the top. And they're like, fans of the team are unhappy about Stuart Skinner's performance and questioning Jay Woodcroft's coaching.
Jay Woodcroft.
It said Jay Woodcroft. I was like, AI, almost, but not quite. Let's get to the scoring summary. Matt Cassian will be joining us shortly to break down Edmonton's 3-2 loss. Tage Thompson opened things up, his 32nd of the year, unassisted, shot on net. Skinner tries to glove it. It bounces out. Thompson takes the rebound and he scoops it up and buries it. 13-28, time of the goal, 1-zip, Buffalo after one. Buffalo's best period is the first period. They had a third best goal differential in the NHL in the first period at +20. They were tops in the league, as Joe DiBiase on the pregame show was talking about. But you would think, okay, here's where the Oilers come back. And sure enough, they did. They looked better in the second period. Darnell Nurse would get the equalizer just a minute 35 in, his 5th of the season from Stetcher and Draisaitl. It kind of looked like a harmless shot from the point, one-timer. Good job in front. Who had the screen? Podkolzin had the screen.
Yeah.
Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen couldn't see it, and Edmonton's tied up at 1 really early in that second period. You go, okay, they're in business. But just at 3:52, Alex Tuch gets his 25th of the year from Ryan McLeod, of course, to make it 2-1 for the Sabres. Edmonton bounces back on a power play. Evan Bouchard, this was textbook, this goal. Face-off win by Draisaitl to McDavid. He skates it to the middle from the point, looks off the goalie, UPL as they call him, finds Evan Bouchard for the one-timer. He makes no mistake. His 12th of the year, second power play marker for Bouchard this season. 2-2 at 9-12. However, in the third period, just 3:20 in, a turnover. Who was it? You said Podkolzin?
Podkolzin at the blue line, yeah.
At the blue line. You've got Norris and you got Thompson hounding Bouchard. Yes, they slash his stick and one of them gets his stick in the hands, but Bouchard didn't look like he was very hard on his stick. Norris over to Thompson. Thompson buries his 2nd of the night, 33rd of the year. Norris making an impact in his first game as a Sabre, 3-2 at that point. The Oilers have 16 minutes and 40 seconds to get an equalizer. They get a few chances. They hit a crossbar. They hit a post. And ultimately can't score. They don't take the timeout for whatever reason. They get a power play late. They put Matthias Janmark out there to score a goal with 2 minutes and 25 seconds left for some reason. Didn't work. Good on the Sabres. I'll give them credit for sacrificing the body, blocking shots, smart with their sticks, taking away time and space from the Oilers. you can't lose to the Buffalo Sabres. Kudos to them for playing good and hard and taking advantage of their scoring opportunities, but you can't lose to the Buffalo Sabres. I know Edmonton historically and lately has not played well in Buffalo. That's their 4th loss in their last 5 visits, but geez, Louise.
That's a good point, Tom. I think, did Joe say it? He goes, Toronto couldn't win here for years.
Yeah.
And it seems like Edmonton's kind of in that same boat.
For whatever reason, yeah.
Yeah, they just can't seem to pick up wins there.
Shots on goal, 34-23 in favor of Edmonton. Face-offs, 55.9 to 44.1 in favor of Edmonton. The power play goes 1 for 4. PK goes 2 for 2. So special teams, I mean, you want one in that last. You got a power play in the last 4 minutes of the game. You got to score. Hits, 23-13 in favor of the Oilers. Block shots, 11 for Buffalo, 10 for Edmonton. Giveaways, 20 officially for the Oilers, 19 for the Sabres. Takeaways, 6 for Edmonton, 4 for Buffalo. 3-2 loss for the Oil. Pissed away a pair of points. Let's get to Matt Cassian, our game analyst, to help us break this one down. The breakdown, of course, brought to you by Southfort Chev. We are officially in Truck Month, which comes with deeper discounts and lower interest rates on Silverados and HD, 0%. For up to 72 months on Silverado Custom and Custom Trail Boss. The Silverado is built in Canada. 90-day payment deferral or $10K cash back with the purchase of a new vehicle. Conditions do apply. See dealer for details at www.southfortchev.com. Drive a little, save a lot. Matt Kassian. Whew. I mean, Cass, you can't lose to the Sabres. You can't. It's just unacceptable. Good for the Sabres to play hard and all of that, but you can't lose to the worst team in the Eastern Conference.
You can't, but you did.
They did.
You can't, but you did.
I mean, I'm like, what
all the thoughts of that game against Dallas and
yeah,
the slide is over and here
they're
we come.
Back. No, they're not.
No, apparently not. Apparently not. The one game shot in the arm from Wallman faded. Not that he was horrible, but yeah, it ends up being another loss here, gentlemen, and a few breakdowns again, particularly on line rushes against, that end up costing you again. So still an area that obviously needs to be cleaned up. They still miss Matthias Ekholm, clearly. Yeah. And yeah, a couple of questionable decisions I didn't understand from Knobloch. And I get sort of the non-call of the timeout. I think with the icing, you're thinking we have guys that are used to playing longer shifts, playing a little more tired in McDavid and Draisaitl. Maybe Buffalo's guys have been stuck out there enough that they're really tired and we can try to catch them off a draw. That may be the thought. That being said, I don't know. And what is Janmark doing on the ice with 2.5 minutes to go when you're down a goal?
That's the top question of the night, Cass.
Listen, man. Yeah, I want a goal. I'm putting that guy out. Are you kidding me? Not a chance.
Oh, boy.
Not a chance. Bad goal by Skinner on the first one. Soft play by Bouchard on the third one.
And earlier, Tom, the pod Cole's in turnover. Like, he puts Bouchard in a really tough spot.
Yeah, that's you can't. It's a blue line trying to drop it under pressure. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then even if you watch the second one, so I was just watching it when you guys pulled me on. I just pulled up the second one again, where it's like you end up, I know you knocked the puck down, so you're trying to regap there. So you're kind of backed in a little bit. But Edmonton had two forwards there that at the start of that play were below the goal line. So it looks like Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Zach Hyman. And I'm trying to see who, and I can't necessarily see on that play who even gets back. Yeah, that is Hyman. So it wasn't much of an effort, I don't think, coming back into their own zone, because you can see the three Oilers jerseys at the blue line. They gap back up, and you just get beat plainly up ice by the Buffalo players. So it's just breakdowns again. Which is frustrating to watch those happen all over. And at the end of the day, you just didn't play well enough to beat a not very good Buffalo Sabres team.
Ugh. Just hearing that doesn't sound good. On that goal, you're talking about the gaps. Yeah, it's Kulak and Nurse. And Nurse tries to do the half block shot thing where he goes down on one knee. And he's 3 feet on top. He's 3 feet out from the crease. Skinner was pretty deep in his net on that one too. Like I know Tuck's a good player, and I would have loved to have seen Alex Tuck traded to the Edmonton Oilers. I think he would be great. But Skinner was kind of off balance on that one too. I don't love that goal either, Cass.
No, I don't love that either. And I didn't love the first one. You know, he makes a save and fights the rebound.
Goal. Yeah.
It was a bad goal. Yeah. You either got to catch it or you got to steer to the corner.
Yeah.
Right. You can't, it was a tweener where it was like, okay, you didn't steer that anywhere, or you didn't hold on to it, or put it in a spot where you could freeze it, like it was bouncing. And that actually just about bit him earlier or later in the game as well, where there's the one, I can't remember which play it was. He ended up actually being able to freeze it, but he kind of like tried to pop back up in the act of freezing it. It just kind of looked awkward and weird.
It was a scramble.
It was a scramble.
Yes,
yeah. And he seemed to be fighting a little bit there. Yeah. Yeah. So a couple miscues from Skinner on that as well. I don't think he's the reason that they lost. We also could point to a lack of finish. We haven't talked about that yet, you guys. 5 goalposts.
Is that just luck?
Or no?
Yeah.
I mean, you could say, oh, it's just luck. You could go with the Gordon Bombay, 1 inch to the left, 1 inch to the right, you would have missed completely. Right? Great pull. Yeah. You could say that, but the reality for these guys is you got to pull the trigger. Like, there was plenty of opportunity to put the puck in the net, and you missed. You missed. Hitting the post is missing. If it goes posted in, it wasn't. Posting out, anything else, you missed. So yes, it was close. Yes, you had a good chance. Yes, that's good. But you had 5 of them that you should have buried. And really, you bury 1 or 2 of those, it's a completely different game. So that factors into the loss as well.
780-218-9999. It is the breakdown brought to you by South Fort Chevrolet with our game analyst Matt Kassian, Tom Gazzola, Hernan, Salas with you as well. You could also text us in the nasty chat if you're watching on YouTube. Hit that thumbs up button. We appreciate you. The Oilers lose 3-2 to the worst team in the Eastern Conference, the Buffalo Sabres. Like, I'm not angry. I'm disappointed. I'm like, what was that? Come on. Gene's talking to Ryan McLeod right now. He sets up the Tuck goal. Let's get to some of these texts. Operator Rich is going to kick us off here. Operator Rich says, losing to Buffalo is basically indefensible. I agree. Like, nothing you could tell me would make me think that's okay. And it's not totally on Skinner, but 900 goaltending gets you a point. Another night with the second best goaltending. I can't even argue with Operator Rich. And listen, Skinner made a couple of good saves. There was the one late.
Yeah, at the end there.
Gave them a chance to get the equalizer.
The 2-on-1. Yeah.
First goal sucked. You can't let that in. And then I'm not loving the second one either. I know, and you made a great point, Cass. The gaps were bad. Darnell and Brett Kulak. But still, like, no bueno. Let's go to
Wayne. That one, and that one I go less on the gaps on that one, because you knock the puck forward, so you're still backing up, so you have to re-gap, and I get that in the neutral zone, but you didn't have any help coming back. You didn't have McDavid kind of gets sucked over too much to one side. Yeah, McDavid got sucked over too much to one side. He shouldn't have, and your other forwards didn't get back. Nugent, Hyman were nowhere in the picture, and they got beat up ice. And that's who ends up scoring.
Tuck gets a great look, yeah.
Because, Cass, did you feel like, I know we talked it off the top with Tommy, like, it's not like the Oilers were bad all game. Like, we've seen them play some bad games. Like, the Anaheim one comes to mind, Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Like, they still carried a lot of the play here. It was run and gun with the Buffalo Sabres.
Yeah, it wasn't as painful, I don't think, that one. Like, it wasn't like we were just like, oh, this is horrible all night. It was more just like, They can't find a way to score. Like, they're shooting themselves with not bearing the puck, and they're shooting themselves with the 1 or 2 mistakes that Buffalo's going to capitalize on, or they did capitalize on.
Cass, they didn't have a lot of clean looks either, did they?
Well, they did. They just hit the post.
Well, okay.
Like, the Connor Brown one was...
Yeah. It just felt like every time they would either overpass, or that you'd see a Buffalo stick get in there. Yeah. And, the clean looks, and then they hit the post.
Well, I think that's fair in that they probably should have had more clean looks with the possession time.
Yeah.
But they didn't execute, or too many passes. I think that's a fair assessment.
Wayne texting in says, "Yep, this one left me with a WTF. Why? How? Is it goaltending? Is it defense? Is it bad puck luck as to while the goal scoring isn't there, or is it coaching, or is it like a toilet seat up and down, up and down?" Well, it's been like a toilet seat like the past couple of weeks for sure. You thought it was back on the up. Not tonight. Liquid Beaver, shout out to Liquid Beaver. He's chiming in. He also brought some cinnamon buns to the studios today. Says, just have to flush this one. Another toilet reference, and move on. At least the effort was there. We have seen them play way worse. Liquid Beaver making a good point there. Let's go to Conroe, Texas. Conroe, Texas says, at some point, if Stuart Skinner doesn't start being the best goalie on the ice, this team may not make the playoffs. And if it does, we'll see an early exit. He's continually down early and playing too deep in the net. That certainly happened today. Thought he was good against Dallas. Thought he was good. He was in that Habs game. No, that was Calvin Pickard. Right? No, that was Stu on Thursday.
That was Stuart Skinner.
Yeah. Anything you want to hit on from those texts?
I mean, they're going to make the playoffs. They're not going to not make the playoffs. Yes, they will make the playoffs. That early exit could depend on who they play. I would like to think they're going to go deep. I would like to think they still have a shot at it. But you can't hit 5 posts and expect to win.
Mikey with an interesting text here, Cass. Sorry to interrupt. Do you want to finish?
No, that's good. Let's hear it.
Okay. Mikey says, great show. Thank you, Mikey. We appreciate you. Checks in the mail. Honestly, I think Chris Knobloch is trying to send a message to the entire team. The bottom 6, the goalie and the superstars, and defense. Mikey, what would the message be?
By maybe putting out Janmark and those guys with 2 minutes left?
Would that be it?
I mean,
those guys literally can't score. Don't score. Literally, they can't score.
Janmark has not scored on a goalie. Yeah.
With this stick.
Is not shot the puck by a goalie this season. I kind of feel like that may be it earlier in the game, but not with 2 minutes left. I mean, if that was the case, Bouchard wouldn't have been on the ice.
Right.
Like, am I wrong in that?
No, I think you're right. How about this one? Andy Pandy. Guys, when listening to the postgame show, I thought it was a rerun of an old show. Because all I hear is the same damn content on most nights. Skinner, weak goal. Bouchard, soft on the puck, and he turns it over and the Oilers couldn't figure out how to beat a bottom feeder. Face it, we're nowhere near where we need to be in terms of our intensity and our details. Oilers won't win a cup with the same culprits making glaring errors or offering nothing on a nightly. Other Western teams are just better. And then Andy Pandy also added, Knobloch showing his inexperience. He's been as poor as many of the squad since January. Andy Pandy's right about, like, when they lose, it's usually the same culprits and the same scenarios. And yes, you could go back to mid-October, talk about a loss to a lesser opponent, and we're probably saying the same things. It's scary that we have to be talking about the same issues this deep into the season. But 2 nights ago, we're talking about a team that woke up, played an excellent game against one of the best teams in the league, and then just the Jekyll and Hyde, to me, is the puzzling part.
And then you got to wait 2 days to play again, right? And against the Islanders, and you're feeling good about your game, at least for most of Saturday's game. And then they didn't play bad tonight. They just couldn't score, and a couple of mistakes end up in the back of their net. We do have Chris Knobloch. Media's coming out pretty quick right now. Do you guys want to roll with him or wait a bit?
I hope we hear about that non-timeout. Let's hear. Here's Coach Chris Knobloch.
We're chasing for the entire game. What do you think contributed to that?
Turnovers. I think we controlled most of the play. I think we had a lot of time in the offensive zone. I think we had more chances. But what we didn't do is just the kind of mistakes that we made. And you look at the turnovers, turnovers that led to scoring chances off the rush. And, I don't think we spent very little time in the defensive zone. And I think we've done a pretty good job on that. But just the puck management and giving chances off the rush was a big story tonight.
For Thursday, how do you go about making sure that those mistakes are cleaned up?
Well, we got a couple days of practice, lots of time for some video, but I don't think any of the video is going to matter. I think we've been talking about it a lot. It's just about guys executing and finding that it's important part of the game. Making a play, making a nice pass, it's important. But it's frustrating when some of the guys who aren't contributing offensively are contributing for scoring chances against, which is really hurting us. It's different if you're making those plays and it's leading to offense, and once in a while you get caught. But if you're not creating that offense and you're giving up those chances, that's what's hurting the team.
There were plenty of times that you guys hit the post. So how frustrating is that? Could you feel that kind of deflate the group when there are those grade A chances?
I think we had enough chances to have 4 or 5, maybe 6 goals. You look at the goal post, you see their goaltender made some really big saves. But I think offensively, we only scored 2 tonight, which is usually not enough. But the chance that we give up were just self-inflicted.
All right, that was head coach Chris Knobloch. We didn't get anything on why there was no timeout called. Paige Martin, the only one firing any questions his way. And he did say something I thought pretty interesting. Cass, I know I saw Hernan kind of raise his eyebrow. You thinking what I'm thinking? Right before the last question? Where he calls out someone who didn't contribute offense, who has not been contributing offense.
No, that's a straight up Podkolzin rip right there. At the blue line. Can't try to do a drop pass at the blue line under pressure right next to 2 of your teammates when you're a guy that's plug and grind. I know that you want to make plays, and at times you're going to make plays, but if you're not scoring a whole lot, if you're not McDavid and Draisaitl, can't do it. And so, you're going to get called out. Yeah. Rightfully so. And I think further to that, the more interesting thing, or I guess alongside with that, is yes, that comment was about that specific moment.
Yeah.
But that's also a comment about players in general right now.
I thought so too. I got that vibe.
Yeah, like where it was, yes, he was talking about Podkolzin, and yes, he was talking about the play at the blue line that led to the goal against. But I think that goes beyond it right now in terms of total play, and maybe where he's at with some of the depth players in the team currently.
Yeah. And really quickly, Paige asking all the questions. It would have been nice if someone jumped in and helped her out. I saw a couple mics in there. That scenario is never fun. I've been there before. So, and I don't think she's going to be like, hey, Chris, why didn't you call that timeout? Would probably be better for someone else too. Plus, she rattled off like 3 or 4 questions on her own. So I just want to clarify that as well. She's doing the heavy lifting in that scrum. I've been there. It isn't easy, especially when you're trying to get out of there and you don't want to draw the ire of the coach who you work with day to day. All right, let's get to some more texts. You do have more audio coming right away, Hernan?
I do. We'll have Darnell.
Okay, let's get to a couple of texts here, Cass, and then we'll get to Darnell, and then maybe a couple final thoughts from you, and we'll proceed. How does that sound? Castle, the dude abides. Let's go to Greg, the sound guy. Says, well, that was a GD bummer. Sadly, not a very surprising GD bummer. Every single one of them should be embarrassed while they are whooping it up in the city for the next week. Yes, they're off to New York right now. Spruce Grove Rick texting in says, again, 97, the 5 or 6 best player on the ice. Spruce Grove Rick adding that they were blocking passes, not just shots, and then adds one more thing. Last power play, 97 has point-blank shot and passes the puck. It gets intercepted. Always looking for Draisaitl. That's Spruce Grove Rick, brother of Leduc. Dan. It's almost to a fault, and we know it's coming. And I understand where
Yep.
Spruce Grove Rick is coming from, right?
Yeah, well, you get the frustration on it. You have to be able to look at your other options too. And I get that that's one that works when it works, but it doesn't always work.
No.
And oftentimes you have to try other plays in order to get that lane to open up. Like you have to make teams respect other plays. They have to make them respect you on the shot in order to get that open up. So yeah, so the repetition to that, I think that's something this year that they have struggled with, is getting away from that. So I get the frustration. You get it totally.
All right. This one from Ken calling out the Latino Heat. I'm just kidding. He says, Hernan's too nice. He promised some spice if the Oilers lose. Release the Latino Heat. Well, maybe we'll get some. Maybe we'll make him angry.
Did at the beginning a little bit.
And get frustrated. Yeah, well, a little bit. But it's Monday.
Okay. A little tired.
We've got somebody standing by. Who do we have?
There's an error coming up on Darnell Nurse, so let me work on it for another couple minutes.
Okay. Let's get some final thoughts from Cass as the Oilers fall 3-2 to the Buffalo Sabres to kick off this 4-game road trip. No bueno, as we've been putting it. And you just can't lose to the worst team in the Eastern Conference and only get 2 goals. Okay, Cass, some people are saying flush this one. Chris Knobloch kind of, when he was asked about like practice time and improve, like he really, he's like, we can't really do anything about that. And I'm sitting there going, I don't know, light a fire under their ass or something.
Well, what he means is he was talking about the video.
Right.
And basically what he's saying is like, you can show them all the video you want, but if they don't execute, what good is it? They have to execute. We can sit there and we can try to teach them for 8 hours. This is what you're supposed to do. This is what you're not supposed to do in this situation. But if they keep doing it anyways, the 8 hours of video did nothing. And I think that's what he's saying. And especially after the last couple of weeks with a lot of the games that we have seen and a lot of the play style that we have seen in the struggles, and that it's like, it's the same video, right? Different players, different clips, but it's the same video over and over and over again. So yeah, you got a little more practice time, but at the end of the day, the players just have to execute. That's what he's saying. And I totally agree with him.
Sounds like Andy Pandy's text. It's the same issues. Yeah. So, okay. And I'm glad that you made that point, because then you do have practice time. So would that be in those practices rather than, more prep in the video room? It's quick passes, working in tight spaces, drills that would help them get sharp, or are you doing system stuff? Regroups, like, would it be pace? Like, could you do something to kind of stimulate the group?
You're taking them one by one, and you're skating along the blue line, the forwards with the puck in the offensive zone blue line.
Yep.
And you just say no, bad, no, no.
Like a puppy.
Are you thinking about passing? Yeah, no, bad.
Don't,
no. Should you drop here? Yeah, no, bad, no. And I like you're gonna work in those situations. You're probably gonna try to work in some offensive zone and with your rotation a little bit. And you're probably gonna try to do it. We'll call it 5-on-5 play, right, where you're doing zone work both on the defensive side as well as the offensive side. So defensive side a little bit on your contain, and your offensive side about getting the crap out of throwing around pucks at the blue line, particularly if you're not a guy who should be throwing around pucks at the blue line. Like, and to Knobloch's point, it's different when Leon does it, because sometimes it's going to work for Leon, right? And yes, occasionally it's going to come back and nip you, but that's the risk reward with those high level skill guys. You can't be doing that if you're Podkolzin.
Wow, one guy's on the verge of a 100-point season. The other guy, I think, just has over 20. So a bit of a discrepancy there.
Careful, Tom.
Oh, sorry.
No.
He works hard, digs pucks out. My bad. My bad.
He does work hard.
I'm not denying that. I just said, okay, so you get the New Jersey Devils on Thursday. You get the New York Islanders on Friday. Then they wrap up the trip on Sunday at MSG. You're going to get a different team, obviously, than the Buffalo Sabres. The Devils, right in the thick of things, third place in their division. I know they don't have Jack Hughes. He's out for pretty much the rest of the season. And listen, for whatever reason, I feel like Edmonton's game is going to elevate against New Jersey because it's a much better opponent. But the Devils 4-6 in their last 10. how much different of a game do you expect from the Oilers, and then just the way the game is played in general compared to a bit of a slog against the Buffalo Sabres?
Yeah. Well, I hope they find a way to actually put the puck in the net when they have opportunity.
Sure. Hey.
You know, they had good offensive zone possession time, and they made mistakes that killed them tonight. And you want to see that same offensive zone possession time, but with the actual killer instinct heading into the game against Jersey. I mean, you know, if we look at their upcoming opponents, so it was Buffalo tonight, and then Jersey, the Islanders, and the Rangers. And if you look at what Vegas has coming down the pipe, which is actually pretty similar in terms of the teams they're playing, if you want to catch them, you have to win these games. You have to. These are winnable games. So what do I expect? I expect a additional uptick, or what do I hope for? Maybe not expect, but what do I hope for? An additional uptick in the intensity. And there were some moments of it. And there were some moments from the bottom six where I was like, okay, there's a little juice. There's a little physicality. There's a little aggressiveness. And I like that. I appreciated that. But I want to see more of that. And I want to see the puck go in the net when they have those grade A opportunities. And just not shooting themselves in the foot again, making the other team earn it. It's just these are such important games the rest of this road trip. You know, you can't have another road trip where you just stink it out, like the one coming out of the break. Like you really, like, I would be disappointed with anything less than not winning these 3 games in a row. Like, even if you went 2-0-1, I'd be disappointed with this road trip. You need to win these 3 games. You want to make a statement as a team and start building momentum like they talked about, getting better and building towards the playoffs. Starts right now. Huge opportunity to have an emotional lift in a time when you just handed a game to a team that's worse than you.
LA, by the way, 3 points back, 2 games in hand. Just, I don't want to pour salt into the wound, but it's worth noting.
Oh, yeah.
So there's that as well. Cass, fantastic work as always, my friend. I look forward. You are on Thursday, right? Or are you out on Thursday?
I can't remember. I'll have to look at my schedule. I got to see.
Yes. It doesn't matter because you were great as always. And
thanks,
we'll
buddy.
catch up with you soon, okay?
Sounds good, fellas.
That's our game analyst, Matt Kassian, with the breakdown. Brought to you by South Fort Chev. I'm going to get to the turning point before we go back inside the Oilers locker room at KeyBank Arena in Buffalo. The Oilers fall 3-2 for some reason to the Sabres, which is ridiculous. Like, we could yell and scream, but it's like Andy Pandy made a good point. It's the same damn things.
It always is, Tom, though. Goaltending, defensive play, a few players on the D end,
stupid turnovers,
guys not producing. And listen, you've noticed this, and I'm sure our nasties have as well. Knobloch's being a lot more not transparent. He's being a lot more honest.
Yeah.
About what he's seeing, because now he didn't say it by name, but we all knew who he was talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's never done that. Never.
Now, he says it in a very docile and kind way, but he's calling people out. He's called this team fragile 3 times in the past 2 weeks. And
Mr. Podkolzin, Tom, if let me double check something here. Yes, he was the lowest ice time. I don't know if he didn't see the ice after that. But he probably didn't.
Probably didn't.
But he was the lowest, and that's the first time Podkolzin's been that low in a very, very long time.
Started the game on the second line, by the way, just to note that. Let's get to the turning point of the game, presented by Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy. At Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy, we treat you like the pros. Our multidisciplinary team includes sports medicine physicians, highly skilled physiotherapists, strength and conditioning coaches, and massage therapists. If you have a nagging pain you would like to go and get taken care of, book your consultation today at www.advantagesportsmed.ca. Like turnovers. I'm kidding. They'll take care of physical ailments at Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy. However, the turning point of the game was a turnover by Vasily Podkolzin and then a soft stick play by Evan Bouchard. Yes, he was being accosted by Josh Norris and by Tage Thompson, but it just he allowed it to be too easy, and then Thompson buries the game winner. So that is your disappointing Advantage Sports Medicine turning point of the game. It was a poor sequence. It started with a Podkolzin turnover by the blue line, a soft play by Bouchard when he had two guys hounding him, and then you couldn't get a save from Stu Skinner. No bueno, as is the theme tonight.
Yeah, so much for my 4-0 road trip, Tom.
Terrible
More
take.
than disappointing. But I agree with Cass. You got to win these 3 games.
Yeah.
Not even an overtime or shootout point matters. None of that. Knobloch's taking a lot of heat on the nasty chat.
He's been getting a lot of heat the last couple of weeks.
A lot of heat, probably more than Skinner and Bouchard and the normal, the regular people that take heat.
The usual
Knobloch,
suspects, yeah.
Yeah, the usual suspects.
Right.
But Knobloch for his lineups, for decisions at times. And listen, Cass made a good point. Yeah, maybe Buffalo was dead tired, and Knobloch's like, I'm not giving them a break. But I still, from you, 6-on-5, you have the 2 best players in the world. You're always going to have the upper hand no matter what. So why not
Give
call the
them a
timeout?
break.
Yeah, give them a break so they're fresh. Draw something up.
When your captain is staring at you, which we're assuming was to see if he was calling a timeout, isn't that a sign?
Yeah, like, let's get one here.
Hey, I need a
Like-
breather, sir.
At 100% Connor McDavid against 100% Dolan, I'll take Connor McDavid every time. Sorry, but that's just the reality of it.
I'm with you.
Like it's definitely interesting. Knob is, like you said, he says it in a nice way. Like Ken says, I talk about the Oilers, but he's being a lot more. He's calling out a lot more issues that his team has. And listen, Tom, I think, okay, let's just say this, Tom. They
Okay.
split Thursday, Friday. I think it's concerning.
Yes. Tonight was concerning.
Tonight was extremely concerning.
What the hell was that?
Yeah.
Still like,
But if you can't bounce
Really?
back, like you should beat an Islander team that doesn't have Barzell, doesn't have Brock Nelson anymore. They're not going to the playoffs.
they're
And
lame
then-
duck the rest of the season.
New Jersey, I still think they're a really good team without Jack Hughes.
I think the Oilers show up against New Jersey. That's how messed up they can be.
I
like-
need a dart. Lieutenant Eric just put a dart in the nasty channel and
Yeah.
got me think.
Get this man a heater.
Do you-
In the meantime, let's hear from Darnell Nurse. The Oilers lose somehow 3-2 to the Buffalo Sabres.
Tom, I was just going to say it would add to the post-game show if Hernan can have a smoke while on air. Yeah,
I like how you've revealed how much you smoke.
I don't smoke a lot.
Yeah, well.
Maybe
Okay,
one.
let's hear from
one a
Darnell.
week. Here's Darnell.
Yeah.
Contributed to that.
They came out with a good push, capitalized on their chances, and we didn't. I think, for us, there was obviously a level of urgency coming out of that room right off the hop, and I think we had a lot of chances. Our ability to bear down and going back in net, though, isn't at the level I think that usually is.
On top of that, there was a lot of posts that you guys hit tonight as well. How difficult is it to not get frustrated when you know that those opportunities are there?
Yeah, I think it's just sticking to the process of it. I think as a team, obviously, we're at a point in the year where a lot of things are driven by results, but for us, we want to make sure that we maintain a level head and stay the course with our game. But with that said, we come out on a night like this. I think our expectation is to come out most nights and play our game and find a way to win, and we didn't do enough that time.
What are the details of your game that you want to clean up before Thursday?
I'd say with watching the goals back, thinking back on the goals, it's our ability to defend off the rush. I think, especially when you have teams with a lot of skill, the opportunities that you give off the rush can be very dangerous. I think for us, it's an area we got to clean up, and we probably got away from it a little bit over the past little while.
Okay, there was Darnell Nurse. Yeah, off the rush, they've been a disaster most of the season. And again, tonight, gap control. You heard Matt Cassian talking about it. Nurse and Kulak on the tuck goal. Skinner deep in his net again. Yep. Please do work on it in the next 2 days because New Jersey has better players and a better team. And if you give them those opportunities, it's not going to be 3-2. It's going to be 6-2. But for whatever reason, the Oilers play good against good teams. They play bad against bad teams. It's plagued them again this year.
So weird.
Yeah, it is. Nurse, by the way, picked up a goal. 23-27 time on ice. Even at the end of the night. 2 hits, 2 block shots, 6 shots, 4 giveaways. And ultimately, the Oilers fall 3-2. Let's get to a couple of texts here now. So I saw Dusty in the nasty chat said no smoking in the studio.
Damn it.
But he can see the smoke coming from your ears.
I would never do that.
Ducky with this one. I had to go back and watch this. I'm like, why is Gene on the floor? Ducky says, best play of the night was Gene going through the table. What a legend. I love the harsh edit on that video as well, doing the Bills Mafia thing. Operator Rich sent in a picture of Stu Skinner on the Thompson goal. And it is the reverse angle of the photo of Skinner that you sent to our group chat, Hernan.
Oh.
Where he's sprawled out he falls on his arm. Not great. Operator Rich, yeah, we noticed that too, by the way. Thank you for sending that in. Let's go to this one. Jax on YouTube says, Uka had a real solid game, and the Oil hit too many posts. Kudos to Buffalo, who played us hard. Coach Mike texting in says, Game 64, no room for moral victories if Oil want the division. Boosh, what can you say? I'm sure the coaches have pleaded with him to be stronger on the puck. 29 had a few great looks, couldn't bury one. Dirty Cardi texting in says, losses like this is what is costing the Oilers home ice. Bouchard's wimpy token stick check and Skinner flopping like a dying fish was icing on the cake. McDavid's puck management was strange. Brown needs to be the first winger to sit when Freddie is in. Talking about Trent Frederick. Brown has no hands and on multiple occasions shies away from taking a hit, never throws a hit. Beat it. Also, what was Nuge doing and what has he done on the 5-on-5? Just so soft as usual. These games make fans enraged. Knobloch deployment, non-timeout call. He's clearly overthinking now. When's the last time Skinner let in less than 3? Dirty Curdy also adds offense to the perimeter, dying to get Frederick and Kane in.
Well, that would be Thursday against Montreal. He only let 2 in.
Yes.
I'll say this about Evan Bouchard, and I think last week I just said, and I'm not talking about him until he starts playing well. Listen, and I get the frustration. I am extremely frustrated with this player in the defensive zone and somewhat in the offensive zone. He's been good. It was a hell of a goal, like you mentioned, Tom. Great setup. Evan Bouchard played 26-32. He's not going anywhere, people. He's not going to the press box. He's not getting his minutes dialed back. He's not going to be sat out for 3 shifts in a row. This guy right now makes a ton of mistakes in his own end. He does, but they continue to play him.
Yeah.
It's not going to change now. In game 60, what is it, Tom?
64.
You think in game 64, the coaching staff all of a sudden is going to be like, maybe we should dial this guy back a bit. They've been riding Evan Bouchard all season. They're not going to stop now. And it's going to it's going to make you very angry. But that's just the way it is. Tom, I look at these stats every game. Bouchard's almost, maybe outside of 2 games, that he wasn't the leading player with ice time for defensemen. He's not going anywhere, guys. And when Ekholm comes back, hopefully rested and healed up, it's going to make that pairing better. But Evan Bouchard, for all those people that think that they're going to sit him or do something with him, it's not going to happen. It would have happened by now.
I'm laughing at Sheldon in the nasty chat who says, everyone just needs to calm down. We still have the trade deadline to improve this team. I have faith in Stan. Sheldon, that well played, sir. Shaggy in St. Albert in the nasty chat said at the inbox, says the Oilers aren't going anywhere in playoffs with Bouchard.
Shaggy's losing it.
Shaggy is not happy.
He said 0-4 road trip. I think he wants to get rid of Knobloch. Well, I might be wrong.
We're seeing more of that Knobloch pushback.
But listen, I understand the frustration with Knobloch, but come on, guys, and that's just crazy talk. We shouldn't be talking about coaching.
Although
coaching changes, let me be clear. We can talk about the coach, and he's made some bad decisions, but coaching change, come on.
I'm not saying I'm in favor of a coaching change at all. Knobloch is 83-41-9 as head coach of the Edmonton Oilers. And this was a funny stat that someone sent in last week. They had total games coached by the last 4 Oilers coaches. Not including Ken Hitchcock. McClellan was somewhere in the 300s. Tip was, I think, around 180. Jay Woodcroft was around 150 or something like that. And Knobloch was a couple away. And there was an insinuation that maybe it's time he's run his course here. And I thought that was funny. But yes, they have been quick to gun their coaches
Yeah, no,
in recent years, but I don't think that's happening here.
That's the last thing this team needs.
Yeah.
They figure it out. And I think Tom used the perfect word. He might be overthinking this stuff too much.
Mm-hmm.
Like, set your line, stick with them. Like today, I think, what did I say? Connor was at like 9 minutes after the first period.
Yep.
They went nuclear, then the lines went in the blender, and it was kind of a mishmash after that, which was fine because the Oilers did have a lot of chances, hit 5 posts. But, Tom, these are important points. They are. Like
You just need them.
You need them because you lose by 2 to the Vegas Golden Knights. You're going to look back at games like this one, the Anaheim one, the Philadelphia one. Like, these are important.
Montreal.
Like, these are such important points right now. And it's looking like LA Oilers again. And I'm telling you, man, 4th time, the Oilers might be in a little bit of trouble. The Oilers need to get home ice. They need to win the division. Enough is enough. And that's why this one hurts, because these points do matter. I know people look at it and they're like, they're fine. They'll be in the play. Yeah, they will. But you want them in the best position possible heading into it. What happens last year if they get home ice advantage, Tom? It's a game changer.
Yeah. Edmonton 3-7 in the last 10. Unacceptable. Yes, they went and had a 5-game losing streak. The Anaheim loss, ridiculous. This loss tonight, maybe less so, but just as disappointing. Unacceptable, ultimately. Go out and play a good game against New Jersey. That's all they can do now. Go win the rest of this road trip, but you just made it harder for yourself.
Taki says, infuriate was the word, Hernan. Yes, that's what I was trying to get
indeed.
to. Yeah.
Let's get to a few more texts. We have a few more minutes left to go. Text us 780-218-9999. Get to the nasty chat. People are pissed off, annoyed, frustrated, all of the above. Rightly so. You only scored 2 goals against the Buffalo Sabres. Great opportunity to build off of what was a very exciting and solid win on Saturday against the Dallas Stars. Ugh, gross. Orca Driver texting in says, Tommy, the only thing this team will be contending for is tee times after the first round.
Whoa.
Ooh,
That takes hot.
Orca Driver, not hot. Yeah, that one is a hot take. This one from Brandon out of Windsor says, couple of shaky ones let in tonight by Skinner. We're with you on that one, Brandon. This one texting in saying, you lose credibility when you consistently not address Skinner. Well, we have addressed Skinner.
Yeah.
He let in 2 bad goals tonight after having a decent performance on Thursday. Got the win, made some big saves on Saturday. Do you want us? What do you want to this particular texter? No name on it, by the way.
Yeah,
what do you want?
We said the first goal unacceptable. Third goal, I know Tommy and Cass didn't like it. Not good enough.
Yeah.
But Paul Colton not good enough. The gaps, I think Joaquin and Cass brought it up. Hyman on the second goal. The third goal, the first goal is just on Stuart Skinner. Like,
yes,
there's a
100%.
lot of things went wrong for the Oilers tonight on those 3 goals, and Stuart Skinner's a part of it, 100%.
A sub 900 save percentage and a goals against average creeping towards 3 is awful.
Terrible.
He's let in bad goals this year. He hasn't been as solid as he was last year. The guys in front of him have been bad. All of that has led to terrible numbers, maybe shaky confidence. So I don't know what else you want. Yes, you're right. He was bad. He had 2 bad goals going tonight. We're not going to absolutely decimate him. Is it going to make you feel better? Maybe.
He's, you know what? And he's the guy here.
Yes.
So he's got to find a way to figure it out and be better. Like Tom said, he's nearing 3 goals a game, which is, for any team going to the playoffs, is not going to be good enough. Yeah. Can he just flip a switch and turn into this great goaltender? I don't think so. So that's why he's got the rest of this month and half of April to find this game.
Dial it in. Doesn't sign text guy says, if not Janmark, who? Jeez. The big dogs are coming out to end the game. They don't have scoring depth. I would put Henrique out there, even though he's having a bad offensive season. I'd put Perry out there, although they saved him for the 6-on-5. I know Connor Brown hasn't been great, has a goal in 32 games. I'd probably put him ahead of Janmark.
When you need a goal,
I put Max Jones out there I don't know. Go crash the net, Max Jones. Your job is to just create chaos in front of the net.
There's 12 forwards on this team. And if you ask me,
You put in Arvidsson, Skinner.
where Janmark ranks and players I want out there when you need a goal, Janmark would be number 12.
He literally has not shot a puck past a goalie into the net this season for the Oilers in a game.
Outside of the top 3, I'd pick 8 other guys ahead of Janmark.
Yeah. Did you see that breakaway he had shorthanded, by the way?
We'll always have the Matthias Janmark breakaway. The janitor sweep.
Big Dave texting in says, the whole team wasn't great tonight and didn't play their game, which I think is why they lost tonight. But could part of the inconsistent play be related to the charm wearing off of a first-year coach? I thought Knoblauch has been good, but since the return from the break, some of the coaching decisions have been questionable at best. Big Dave, you're right about like some of the decision-making coaching-wise since the break. Absolutely. Absolutely. When this team was on that huge run earlier from mid-November to the end of January, it seemed like any button Knoblauch and the coaching staff would push worked, right? Combinations, throwing the right guys out at the end of the game. It seemed like every little button he pushed worked. Lately, it hasn't been the case. I think some grace is allowed here. His record's great. And again, we've seen so many coaches.
Yeah, like
So many coaches. I'm just going to go back. Let's go back 10 years. So let's go to 2015. 2014-15, you had Dallas Aikens start the year. Mac T officially coaches a few games as they break in Todd Nelson. There's 3 guys right there in 14-15. You bring in McClellan, gas him after 2.5 years. Hitchcock, Tippett, Woodcroft, and now Knoblauch. What are we at? 8 in the last 10 years?
yeah, that's not the. These guys got to figure it out on their own. And I think Tom Dusty makes a good point too. He says Skinner wasn't good, but the Oilers can't get a goal from a forward in a game against Buffalo. And people are like, "Well, they hit 5 posts." Well, it counts as a miss, guys. Like they didn't score. I don't look at posts as positives. He still didn't score. But to your point, like, yeah, it's time. The concerning part for this team is that we're in game 64. There's 18 games left, Tommy, and we're still seeing the defensive warts on this team, the breakdowns they have.
Same mistakes, man.
It's the same mistakes over and over and over again. That's got to be concerning.
Barbershop Window says you forgot Ralph Kruger. Ralph was 2012-13. Then they brought in Dallas in 13-14. He lasted the whole year. And then early in 14-15 in November, out of there because they were so bad. So bad. A couple more texts. Keep those coming in. 780-218-9999. Inexplicably, the Oilers lose to the Buffalo Sabres 3-2 tonight. Very, very disappointing. Juan says 2 great periods, 4 crappy ones, as Belichick said. On to the next game. Yeah. RSO Cody says, am I the only guy who thinks Nurse gets caught in no man's land on those back-in plays where he's half screening the goalie but can't stick check from where he is, and they never seem to shoot straight into him for the shot block? RSO Cody, you nailed it. Cass pointed out his poor gap control. Kulak was just as guilty on the other side. Nurse does have a tendency to back in. This is not a new thing for him. And then we talked to Joaquin about this. Joaquin, I'm sure, was watching that goal and said, why did you half try to block that shot, Darnell? And he has a penchant for doing that. It's frustrating. And you would like him by now to have completely exercised that from his system at this point in his career, but he still does it. Bad gap, as Cass said. But RSO Cody, you did notice something, and you're 100% correct. The Gourdfather says, if Knob is going to call out Podkolzin for lack of production, why hasn't he been sat yet, especially when Skinner had been producing? It is so frustrating. Good point. Dave says, the 6-on-5 was terrible. Spent the entire time on the wall. Everyone was on their backhand. Need to get feet moving in order to get in positions to either pass or receive pass on forehand. Credit to Sabres for keeping them on the wall, but Oilers have to be better. Dave, I'm with you. Lots of perimeter play. That power play, too, at the end. A lot of stagnant,
just on the outside,
stationary play.
Just on the outside again.
Waiting for Connor to do something. And, yeah,
Yeah, Tom, it's just unacceptable. You can't lose this game. And I really hope the team feels that too. Like, come on, boys. Like, what are we doing here? I mean, Darnell was, I didn't mind his presser. They're going to look at the positive. He's not going to be hard on his team. We were good offensively. And they had a lot of looks. They did, because it was run and gun back and forth. But this is unacceptable. You cannot lose this game. And now you're in a tough spot. You got 3 tough games coming up. For me, you have to win 3. There's no other way. You want to be a Stanley Cup contender. You can't split this 4-game trip. You can't be 1-3. You can't be 1-2-1. You have to win the next 3 games and make a statement. If not, the questions are going to keep coming up, Tom.
Yep. 100%. Let's get to the Damon Bunting Real Estate Player of the Game. Damon Bunting, consistent top-producing realtor in the greater Edmonton area for over 17 years. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram, @DamonBuntingRealEstate. I will also say this. Damon Bunting is not a real estate agent that goes and does photo shoots of himself. Unlike other real estate agents, I keep noticing this. Why are they modeling? They're modeling.
The new world, Tom.
Not the homes, just themselves. Anyway, who's the Damon Bunting Real Estate Player of the Game?
Yeah, I got to go to the other team.
Yes.
I'm going to go with Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. 32 saves on the night, Tom. 941 save percentage.
Those are great numbers. I'll tell you what. If only Stu Skinner could have those.
You got a lot of help from the post, but you still made 32 saves.
Yes, he did.
I thought he was solid, though, Tom. I'll be honest.
He had that nice save on Draisaitl off the one-timer that everyone knew was coming. Kind of squeaked through him, but outside the post.
Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen is the Damon Bunting Player of the Game for the agency. And I'll read one last one from the Nasty Chat. Made me laugh. Gordon says, team too tired after high-fiving themselves on Saturday.
Well said. Well, that was Gordon in the Nasty Chat.
Yeah.
Well played. We'll leave it at that. Lots of great texts tonight. A lot of frustration, disappointment. We're not mad. We're just disappointed.
Very disappointed.
How do you lose to the Buffalo Sabres? Unacceptable loss. Good for Buffalo for playing hard, I guess. You can't let that happen. The Oilers will look to bounce back against a much better New Jersey Devils team. Then they play the Islanders on Friday. It's the Devils Thursday, the Islanders Friday, Rangers Sunday. We'll get you set for that one on Thursday night. It's a 5:30 start our time. We're on the air midway through the Reed Wilkins Show at 4:30. Be sure to join us. As always, we appreciate you if you listened or you watched. Thank you as always. Hit that thumbs up on the way out. For Matt Kassian and the Latino Heat, Hernan Salas, I'm Tom Gazzola saying have yourselves a great night. We'll talk to you tomorrow.